Junior Mining Weekly, a StockPulse.com production, where we track the action of the equities within the commodity sector. With me to break down the action is Allan Berry of the Allan Berry Reports. Al, before we go on here, I know you always have a top story. What are you seeing this week?
Well, it's another trend here that I've been seeing over the last couple of weeks that we've been doing these shows that big deals in the mining space. Barrick this week sold one of their assets to TGZ for $480 million. Now, this one, I believe that they were partners on it already, and they bought the remaining 90%, for $480 million. So, it's this is always a good sign. Whenever you see mergers, acquisitions, and that sort of stuff happening in the space, it's usually indicative of good things to come. And that's something I'll talk about to close the show off. But yeah, I'm seeing some really good signs for us to go into a better market here pretty quickly.
Okay, well, let's dig down into these equities here. First one on the radar, Osisko Metals, OM, on the venture. Had some nice hits in their zinc project and just raised a bunch of money.
Yeah, this is part of the Osisko group of companies. This one's their metals exploration company, if you will. They raised $7 million in a private placement. These guys have no problems whatsoever getting money. The project looks pretty good, too, for zinc. There's not a lot of really good zinc stories out there, but I'm quite bullish on zinc, looking at the inventories in London and other places, and really not a lot of good ones out there. Fireweed Zinc is another one I follow, but Osisko Metals, they hit 11.84 meters of 9.46% zinc. So that's the kind of stuff you can make money mining, that stuff, Rob, and they've done it a bunch of times at Pine Point. So it's a good project, great people involved, and it's a classic tax loss selling victim. The 52-week range is 38.5 cents on the low. The high is 72 cents. Currently trading at 40 cents as we record this, so a penny and a half from its 52-week low. Yet really strong company, $7 million. Looks like your classic tax loss selling victim that I think will improve as we get into the new year.
Okay, next one here, Wallbridge Mining, WN, announced that Antonio McCooch, who runs Kirkland Lake, is joining the board, so pretty interesting move here.
Yeah, it is an interesting move. I mean, he likes the high-grade projects, and this is definitely a high-grade project. Their last results were 48 meters of 22 grams per ton of gold at their Fenelon project. So, yeah, and it's kind of caught my attention because Tony McCooch is pretty busy with his Kirkland Lake gold. It's a very good performer. They're one of the best performing majors out there of producers. They've got a very low cost, high grade project in Fosterville in Australia. They've recently taken over. They're taking over Detour Gold, so he kind of got his hands full, and now he joins the board of this junior explorer that's been doing very well. This one's a flip of the tax loss selling victim, or you could say that they didn't really go through a tough time during the tax loss selling. They're trading near their 52-week high, but it's a power chart that, it's one of those ones that I like to watch for that are bucking the trend. And Wallbridge is definitely bucking the trend and hitting some great numbers. I think it could take them a lot higher. The 52-week range is 15 cents on the low, 88 cents on the high, currently trading at 84 cents. But with that power chart, I'd be looking for any opportunities on any kind of weakness, any kind of pullbacks to be taking a position. I think they got something real big there, Rob.
And we don't talk about oil too much here, but here's one, Gran Tierra Energy, GTE.V. These guys came out with some guidance and an operational update. Break this one down.
Yeah, the oil deals aren't getting a whole lot of love these days, but it caught my attention that they're operational. They're spending $220 million in 2020. They're looking to increase production, keep their costs down, return focus program, prioritizing free cash flow. I always like to hear companies that talk about prioritizing free cash flow. Cash flow is one thing in business. Free cash flow is a whole different story. In the mining business, sometimes you can find these swapping dollars for dollars projects. Yeah, there's cash flow, but nothing's flowing back to the bottom line. And in this case, that's their focus. And I like to hear companies that are focused on the fundamentals like that. And what also caught my attention is they're trading like a tax loss selling victim in the mining space. Their 52-week range is $1.22. The high is $3.51. Currently trading at $1.48. I think I'm really liking what I'm seeing in the chart. It looks like they have bottomed out in the last month. They've bottomed 2 times, around $1.20. It looks like that is the bottom, and now they're starting to come out of that bottom. So I'm liking what I'm seeing in the chart. I'm liking what I'm seeing on the fundamentals. I thought it was a good time to maybe start bringing some oil deals in. And with $220 million to spend and generating free cash flow, I thought this was a good one for our audience to take a look at.
Heading over here to Integra Resources, a company very well followed company, ITR, on the venture. Some nice drill results at their War Eagle and Florida Mountain projects.
The reason they're well followed, Rob, is that they've had some big success in the past. The original version of Integra was taken over, and now they just had some results out a few days ago. 4.27 meters of 84 grams gold equivalent. I like these high-grade projects, Rob, and especially with good people that can bring in a lot of attention. That's what these guys are all about. They've got a good audience because they deserve it. And the 52-week range on this one is 61 cents, $1.42 on the high, currently trading at $1.18. So it's not, it's not been a big sufferer of the tax loss selling. It did peak at $1.42-ish back in October, and then since then it kind of corrected down to $1.10. And it's starting to come off of that, and I think that this is one you can expect some really good things out of on the news front, on the and on the stock front as we go into the new year. Definitely one people should have on their shopping list.
And one we've covered extensively, Skeena Resources, SKE on the venture, close their first tranche here of financing, but Golden Triangle.
This time of the year, I'm usually avoiding the Golden Triangle. They're in the winter months when they can't explore up there, but these guys are in a unique situation that they are able to drill year round, and they're drilling on a project that got the Golden Triangle its attention, which was the Eskay Creek deposit. These guys are sort of reopening what was the famous Eskay Creek mine, and why it's important is that back when the Eskay Creek deposit was in production, it was at a time when gold was a lot cheaper. So, the cutoff grade was a half an ounce per ton. Well, today you can make a lot of money mining a half ounce per ton with $1,900. $1,500 an ounce gold, and before that they couldn't touch it. So now these guys are going in there to revive what was left over, can drill year round in the tax loss sellings, in the winter months. That's no wonder they were able to raise $11.1 million, and that's just the first tranche of the financing. They've got more money coming. Their last big drill results, 17 meters and 19.73 grams per ton gold. Back in the day, that was hardly even mineable. Nowadays, that's some sweet high grade. So that's why they've been bucking the tax loss selling trend, something that I always pay attention to because, that's showing some serious relative strength. Stock 52-week low is 26.5 cents. The high is 71 cents, currently trading at 59 cents. I think you can see more of this bucking the trend type action as we go into the new year. And Skeena's got a really good project that people should be paying attention to.
And the last one here, Galway Metals, GWM on the venture, raising $2 million here to go after the Clarence Stream Gold Project in New Brunswick.
This one is one that I really think is an undiscovered gem, a hidden treasure, if you will. We should try to get him on a hidden treasure show, Rob, because the stock has been basically flatlining for most of this year. Since February, it's basically, you could draw a line through 32 cents and it goes slightly above, slightly below, but that's pretty much the range. And sometimes these companies that create a long base like that, they say in technical analysis, a long base means a high in space when it gets out of that base. So this is one that's the theme of this chart, that I think it could be a good candidate to break out and head towards much higher prices. The team involved with this company have had success in the past, selling out one of their projects. And the stuff that they're looking at now, it looks like they were looking at 3 zones that could be all one big zone with some high grade and some open pit type action on it, Rob. So this is one that doesn't get enough love as a hidden treasure. Long base of about a year base that I think this one's ready to break out. The 52-week range is 14 cents on the low. That was back in January. The high is 44 cents. And basically, like I said, it's been bouncing around that 32 cent range, which is exactly where it is today, 33 cents on 45,000 shares. And I think it's sort of a come out of the base kind of stock.
Well, seasonality's been the constant theme here. We're winding the year down. What are you identifying now as really the trend here?
Well, what I've been really happy to see is some of these tax loss selling victims are coming out of their victimhood ahead of schedule. And that is a very positive sign for me. There's a couple trends that I follow very closely. The one is the Santa Claus rally, and then that feeds into the January effect. And oftentimes, what happens in January is the reason it's called the January effect is it has a way of foretelling what will happen throughout the year. And I think we're heading into a very bullish scenario for gold and for the gold juniors that will bring along the silver and some of the base metal plays. And so the precursor to the January effect is the Santa Claus rally. Oftentimes what happens if you get a Santa Claus rally, it feeds into the first week of January, and what often happens in the first week of January tells you what's going to happen in January, and then what happens in January tells you what's going to happen throughout the year. This is why I follow these trends so closely. With us getting this early action in the recovery of several of the tax loss selling victims, it's a good sign that we're going to get a Santa Claus rally for the juniors in the mining space, which also tells us we should have a good January effect. So I'm always trying to get people ahead of the curve, and I think what's given us a sign to be ahead of the curve is that these tax loss selling victims that are ahead of the curve on the recovery. And I think that we're heading into a very strong period for the price of gold. It had a big run this year. Then it kind of softened up, but didn't give back a lot of its gains. That's a very bullish sign for me. So I think we're going to see a golden Santa Claus rally with a good Santa Claus or good January effect action for the price of gold that will make gold a very good performer in 2020.
Okay, appreciate that breakdown from Allan Berry. You can follow out the Allan Berry reports, and he's got several pieces of content on StockPulse.com. That is it for this week's show. If you're a fan of the information, please subscribe to the channel and share the broadcast. And we'll be back next week with more informative CEO interviews and breakdowns on the sector.